Hi everybody, welcome back to my Dungeon Boss Is It Worth It series. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that gets asked over and over and over in general chat in the game, and it has to deal with spending real money in the game. So the item that I'm going to be focusing on today is the Rune Grab Bag. Currently, if you're playing through the campaign, every time you load a dungeon, a little tooltip comes up, or at least most of the time. You may have seen one in game that says Rune Grab Bags are the fastest way to get greater runes or superior runes or whatever it might actually say. So the question is it worth it for you to try and buy those runes rather than going through the normal gameplay and actually making the purchase? So in order to determine if this is going to be worth it for you, we first need to understand basically what are you getting for this, and what are you what are you spending for what you're getting. So obviously there is more than just the cost involved. Let's start out with some of the social ramifications of trying to make in-game purchases. If you are a child, young adult, or minor, whatever variation of the terminology you want to use, spending $10, $20, $40 in-game may be something that gets your phone taken away or cut off or whatever the situation if you do not get that approved by your parents. If you are a younger adult, high school, or poor college kid, and your parents still pay your cell phone bill, they might get a little peeved if you're dropping $10, $20, or $40 on a mobile game. They might tell you to grow up, get a job, etc., etc. If you are a loving husband or boyfriend, your wife or girlfriend might look at you and say, why are you spending X number of dollars on a mobile game? Go out and buy something normal, tangible, things like that. If you are like a lot of people in the game, you might fall somewhere in the middle. You might have your own budget for mobile games. You might not have any real restrictions on your money. So, depending on where you fall, keep that in mind in terms of what you're going to buy. Now, my purpose of this video is to tell you, is it worth it to buy one of these grab bags? And that's what we want to get to the bottom of. So, in the interest of all of the viewers out there who are curious what you're going to get out of this for, in my case, a $40 purchase, that's what we're going to get to the bottom of. So, aside from the social ramifications of making a purchase like this, let's first take a look at what this actually costs and what we get. So, Greater Rune Grab Bag is what I'm going to be targeting right now. Keep in mind that based on your level, you may not have all three of these. So, for example, in a couple of minutes, I'll show you my alt account and what we have out there. So, Greater Rune Grab Bag has this 5 greater or superior runes. In a perfect world, I would love to see 5 superior runes, but being that the first thing tells you at least 1 superior rune, I feel like I'm going to get 1. That's kind of the name of the game there. If they tell you you're going to get at least 1, probably expect 1. Next up, the minimum rare quality runes. This is the line item that trips most people up because they don't understand what that's actually saying. And what this is saying is, at the minimum, the 5 runes that you're going to get are going to be all rare quality or better. So I'll show you that when I get to my alt account as well in terms of what some of those actually look like. But basically, if it's minimum rare quality, you're not going to get the absolute worst runes, but you may not get heroic or legendary runes either. So you have to weigh the risk-reward of actually getting that. And then lastly, the minimum 3-star runes. That's actually the easiest to understand because we know that the runes go from 1 star to 5 star. So it's very easy to understand that all of your runes that you're going to get here are going to be 3 stars. So what I'm going to do first is basically we're going to ask ourselves, why are we actually purchasing these runes here? If you are at a particular level, you found the game getting more difficult, and you think, oh, maybe some greater and superior runes will help me get through these last few dungeons of challenge mode. Or maybe these runes will help me get started on boss mode so I can start doing boss island and farming some of those epics. Those are great reasons for wanting to make in-game purchase. Maybe you're just, in general, feeling like spending some money to beef up your VIP level. Ultimately, that's what I'm going to be doing is I don't need the runes that much. I'm doing this more for the benefit of my viewers than the benefit of myself. So is it kind of stupid to waste $40 for the purpose of a YouTube video? Some might argue that. In my defense, I've wasted more money on way, way dumber things. So don't worry about me and my budget. I'm going to be just fine. I probably spent 6 months with a World of Warcraft account, not played it, and I was a paid subscriber. That's money down the drain. I've purchased Star Wars Battlefront and played it 4 times. Let's see, what else have I done? I bought in Final Fantasy 15. I only have 6 hours logged for it, so I'm no stranger to a wasted dollar here or there. So don't worry about me. But like I said, this is to benefit the viewers so that you can make the decision if this is going to be worth it for you. So with that said, let's assume that the whole reason that we're going to do this is to give ourselves an edge over the competition. So to do that, let's actually take a quick sidebar to my alt account. Okay, so here I am with my level 16 alt account right now. Basically, if you're a lower level and you're thinking about purchasing some runes, the reason you might be doing so is so that if you look over your stats, you can raise these stats to a point where you might be much more successful in dungeons, or maybe you could dominate a little bit more in PvP. But also, you do have some limitations here. So, looking over the runes that you have available now, a lot of people are going to have some lesser runes to start with. If you look at the stats on these, notice it doesn't increase by much. Health plus 6, that's going to go up a little bit as you level the rune. But don't expect to get massive, massive boosts here like if you were equipping a superior rune onto this character. So, there is going to be basically kind of a cap in terms of what sort of runes you can get on here. Now, if you're at the point where you can get some really amazing runes on a level 15 or 16 character, you're obviously going to be incredibly successful in PvP and probably burn through the dungeons pretty quickly. But keep in mind, as we go to our shop here, because of my low level on this account, if I go to my specials tab, I actually do not have the superior or even, or not the superior, but the greater. I don't have the improved or greater bundles. I can only buy the lesser. Now that is going to guarantee at least one improved rune and some decent quality runes, which at level 15 is going to be pretty amazing. But you have to remember that at level 15, you're still very early in the campaign and you probably don't need these runes. You're going to be able to clear through dungeons pretty quickly, and it's just not going to be a good use of money, even for just spending some money to get some VIP level. So what I mentioned before was the quality of the runes. If you look at this first rune here, which a lot of people have, it's called a common one. Common is the worst type you can actually get. The rune grab bags actually guarantee a rare level. A rare level is the 3rd out of 5th levels, and then some of these other ones are uncommon. So, other than that, there is then heroic and legendary, but let's actually go back to my main account now first. So I'm back on my main account now, and we're staring down this greater rune grab bag, and we're now wondering, based on what we've learned so far, is it going to be worth it to actually purchase this? Now, before I actually get into the actual purchase, there's a couple things that I need to point out, and this might be ultimately the deal breaker that tells you whether or not you want to do this, or what I think is that you don't want to do this. So keep in mind, $40, that's the point here. But what it doesn't say is when we look at certain types of purchases, let's just, for example, take a look at one of the other things, like these event ones. This is a good example of one. So I might purchase something like, boy, these are bad examples actually. Crafting pack, that's actually a good one. So let's pretend that this one costs money, for example. You'll see these all the time in the actual specials, but notice how it tells you exactly what you're going to get here. That's one of the nice things about some of these, is you know what you're actually going to get. If you look at the crafting stuff, it tells you exactly what quantity of each one you're actually going to get. If you look at some of the other ones, I don't know if there's a materials one in here. Usually the materials ones we see in events. I guess there's none in here right now. But basically, it'll tell you that you're getting X number of a specific type of a material. So what do we actually get when we talk about this rune grab bag? We get, could it be any more vague, 5 greater or superior runes. That's it. If you're watching this, I would assume at some point you've made your way out to the runes tab. So first things first, there are 5 different elements of runes to choose from. So which one are we getting? Are we getting fire runes? Are we getting light runes? Are we getting 5 water runes? Are we getting one of each? So that already is kind of a question mark because I'm paying $40 for runes, but I don't know what I'm going to get. That seems a little bit risky. Why can't I just make a purchase and buy the runes that I want? Well, in that case, you're obviously far more into the pay to win category than the let's pay money to gamble type situation. In addition to the 5 elements, let's just pull up fire runes. So I'm going to craft fire runes. We have battle, resist, power, focus, elusive, destruction, insight, tactics, vampiric. Did you count those? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 different types of runes. So 9 types of runes, 5 different elements. There are 45 different individual runes in this game. We're getting 5 of them. Are they going to be all the same? Are they going to be the same element? Are they even going to be the more beneficial ones like a tactics runes or a vampiric rune? We don't know that. All we know is what they told us. 5 greater or superior runes. So is that worth $40 to you? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on where you are in the actual game. So I know it's probably not going to be worth it to me, but I want you guys to be able to see what you're actually going to get out of this. So let's backtrack a little bit and go into the actual shop. Now, if you watch closely, I am going to make the purchase, but I will have to do a little bit of crafty editing so that you do not see my actual account and password, things like that. So if you see a little bit of a gap in the video, that is exactly what it is. So bear with me as I go dark for just a few seconds so that I have some time to actually edit out the footage. So we should see the purchase in progress now. So here's what I got out of this purchase. So just looking at the overall, we got one of each color. That's great. That's nice that we got one of each one. We got 2 superiors, which is nice. We only got 1 heroic. We didn't get any legendary. And we only got 2 of them that are actually greater than 3 stars. So like I mentioned early on when we first looked at what was going to be in here, we were able to see that it's pretty much on par with what I expected. It's kind of like we're going to get like 1 superior, we're going to get maybe a couple of nice rares or heroics, and basically that's about it. Now the bigger question is, of the runes we actually got, are they even worth anything to us? Now as level 70, these here, other than that superior battle rune, I don't have a lot of faith in these. Now if you're a brand new level 55, 60 and you actually were able to purchase this, some of these might actually be good to get you started in boss mode, or even finishing up some of those more difficult challenge mode ones where you maybe just need to 3-star them. So this is the one I want to look at first, is a superior battle rune. Attack, skill. Honestly, that's a great skill loadout for this one here. Rather than something like a stupid resist stat on here, this is actually going to be a great battle rune. Now, is it a $40 rune? Probably not. I would gladly have accepted this one, re-rolling some crafted runes. But ultimately, that's going to be a good one for one of my mid-tier heroes that I use for various dungeons here or there. It's not going to make the cut for a PvP hero, but it's a good quality rune to start with. The other superior one, superior elusive, looks like dodge, skill, and health. Because it's elusive, I expected a dodge chance, and then it's got skill and health. There's no resistance stats on there, so honestly this one is decent. The quality of the rune is obviously not nearly as good as the battle rune was. This would obviously be much better if it was a legendary rune and a 5-star rune. But as a starter rune, it's not that shabby, but it's also not, like I said, not good enough to make the PvP cut. Focus rune, I'm not too expecting much on this one. Skill, dodge, and defense, actually pretty decent ones. I would prefer to have another skill on there or a crit chance instead of the dodge chance. But we'll get into that once we actually start looking at my individual rune guide, which is going to be a series that I'm going to come out with probably in a couple of weeks. We're going to go over all the different types of runes and what you're actually looking for when crafting them. Greater Bulwark, for me it's not going to be that great because I have a ton of purple runes, and honestly that Dark Resist is a complete waste. With Bulwark you only want defense and health and probably damage reduction if you can get it. But Dark Resist or any resist is kind of a waste. Greater Precision, I'm afraid this one's probably going to have some dodge on it, what they usually do. Crit damage, actually this is a great rune if it would have been a legendary 5-star. Crit and damage is amazing stats for a precision rune. If you're crafting these, those are ones you're going to try and go for because you can get a lot of your crit on the first rune that you equip on someone, and it allows you to throw some power runes on some of the other ones. So now we have a sense of what sort of things you can actually expect to get out of a rune grab bag. So hopefully just leading up to this point, this was helpful in you determining if you actually want to make this purchase. So how do we determine if this is actually worth it? We have to determine, is what we got worth the actual cost? Would it have been better to spend my money on gems and try to do some crafting? If you have the materials, I would always advocate crafting runes first, because the cost for crafting runes is going to cost you gems, which you can generate in-game. Spending money for something that you cannot upgrade is a much bigger risk. Now, was I expecting to get a legendary rune in here? Probably not. We saw there's 45 different types of runes that we could get, and that was just the types of runes with the element and the color. We didn't even factor in the rarity and the star level. So the number of permutations here is just astronomical, and it's not likely that we're going to get 5 superior legendary runes for 40 bucks. If you could do that, I think Dungeon Boss would be making a lot more money if that was what was in these bags, but that's obviously not the case. So the reason I made this video now is because I just did the video on my superior planning runes. So if you need an idea of what the gem cost is going to be versus what you're going to get, backtrack one video and take a look at that one, because that one I spent 2,300 gems on 2 superior planning runes. So if we look at that, what does that actually amount to? So if you were spending Expenderton and you look at how much gems cost, let's just say ballpark I overspent on that one and it was 2,700 gems. That was basically, I spent almost the equivalent of $20 in-game on those 2 gems. I got it to heroic level. One of them was 5-star, one of them I think was 4-star. So basically, let's just say ballpark I spent $17 for those 2 runes. I knew for a fact which runes I was getting. I knew I was getting planning runes. I knew the color, and I knew that they were going to be at least somewhat decent because I was going to tune them multiple times. So I spent roughly $17 on 2 runes versus $40 on 5 runes. So if you're looking to make some runes, I think that would ultimately be a better usage of your money rather than to purchase something in game. So what did I actually get out of that rune grab bag? A couple more VIP points towards my VIP 9, which I'll gladly take. I'm trying to get up there anyways. But for me, is it worth it? I would say probably not. The level of randomness to those runes is just far too significant to ever justify spending that kind of money without knowing exactly what you're going to get. Now, I can understand why the developers did that, because they don't want you to just buy your way through the entire game and be able to buy all these perfect legendary superior runes. So with that, I think I'm going to basically stamp my judgment on this one and say no, it is not worth it. I would say if you're going to spend $40, buy 2 barrels of gems and get yourself 5,400 gems. Use it for a bunch of runes and craft them yourself. Or better yet, if you're at that mid-level phase, use it on times 10 summons. You're going to be much better off developing your hero roster than you are trying for runes that you maybe are not quite ready to be purchasing and trying to craft yet and spending all of your gems. So with that, I hope this was a nice lesson learned for some of you. If you're looking at spending money in game, definitely if you're in a guild, always seek out your guild mates and see if it's a good purchase. Or you can always send me a direct message. I'm always happy to tell you if I think something's a good idea or not a good idea. But don't just purchase things in game just because you see an ad on one of the load screens or because something might seem like a good idea. And I don't generally suggest asking Gen Chat because they're just trolls galore. So join a guild, ask your guild mates, or just seek out the forums. Usually you can find some great help on whether something's a reasonable purchase or not. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down. And if you have any questions, we are going to have more Rune ones in the future. Thanks.